Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Spy Check podcast, where we'll be discussing Survivor, Millennials versus GenX, Episode 2, Love Goggles. With me, like always, is Aaron. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
And returning back for a second week, and hopefully for the rest of the season, Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
We are currently waiting on Mark. Once again, he is on the other side of the world from where we're at, so we give him a little bit of leeway there for this episode. Before we even start here, guys, without any specifics or spoilers of or what happened in the episode, what y'all think of episode 2? Aaron?
I thought this episode was very good compared to last week. Last week, I felt it was a really weird way to start off the season, and I think part of that, it wasn't their fault because really they had day two. Their day two was really robbed from them because of the weather. So with this one, they were able to work with a lot, so it came out a better episode. Not perfect, but I felt like some of the editing was a little not even, and like it's really hard for that. Like I can see that when they have 18. The more times I'm watching Survivor over the years, they seem to be good at 18 or 16 people. When there's 20, it seems like they really struggle to give everybody confessional.
Mm-hmm. Kim, what did you think?
And they got 19 now. So,
I'm sorry, Kim. What do you think of this episode?
I'm kind of agreeing with Aaron. I think that it was better than the week before. You got to focus more on the tribe and not necessarily the storm that happened. But also, I think that sometimes people are disappearing, and you could forget that they are even on the tribe. And to me, I'm not crazy about that. I want to see everybody and not forget they're there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's something.
Another clear way of kind of seeing, when you don't see anybody the whole episode, you're like, well, they're to show everybody to throw the people who are watching off. Because if they don't show anybody, they're safe.
Yeah, that's true. I do agree with what Aaron said there, as far as when it was just the 16 contestants at the beginning of the season, we did get to see a little bit more of each one of them. Now we lost some of that when it went to 18, and now more when they went to the 20 people. And I get why they went to the 20 people. I think it's been talked about in different media. They went to the different 20 people most likely because of medevacs and quits that were happening more and more often. So it gives them a little bit more leeway. So something like in Micronesia, where they had three medevacs, and it kind of messed up their time frame of what happened, that they ended up going to the final 2. At least that's what the story is, so I get why they went to 20. It is harder to get everybody time. I hope they don't go more than 20 because of what we talked about last week in Australian Survivor. I love Australian Survivor, but starting off with 24 people was really hard to talk, to get any confessions from certain people. And even at the end of 3-4 episodes, we were still left, well, who is this person again, or who is that person again, or we haven't really heard of this person. So I like the way they're doing it right now.
But they have a big advantage over there in Australia with that. They get it 3 times a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and they need all that time because 24 people's a lot, and now they're down to what, like 11 or 12.
I think so, but they're also out there like 55 days.
Yeah.
They're only on day 37. I mean, our show would be over.
Yeah. Or right up to being over. So we'll talk about Australian Survivor towards the end. I wanted to add a little segment there at the end where we'll talk about Australian Survivor since I feel like everybody's caught up so far. So let's get on with this this episode. So we start off with GenX right off the bat, and do you have an idea of who's calling the shots on the GenX tribe?
I think it's Paul, but like I said once before, Paul is calling the shots, and people in the group know Paul is calling the shots. If you're going to be a leader, you kind of have to be low key, and when you stand out, it puts a huge target on your back. People were already talking about targeting Paul, you know, and he might have been the target this past week if things were different.
Now, do you think he really is calling the shots, or are they letting him think he's calling the shots, and Chris and Brett are just kind of like, we'll let him think he's taking the shots, calling the shots while he's making the right call for us, I guess. Once he says something that is against what we want to do, we're going to go ahead and just let it know, you know. Yeah.
I don't think that he's a solid in that alliance, so to speak, but I think that they will cut him before the other two without question, and I think that he might go earlier than I thought before. It's not so much that it's calling the shots, it's like how you speak. And you have to watch how you talk, just like what happened with Rachel. It's all on how you say it, not what you say.
Yeah, I feel like how Rachel was talking, I would rub me the wrong way, and I would rather have someone like her leave just because of what we saw. The way she was talking was not the way I would like to hear someone talking to me. So, what do you think, Aaron?
Oh, I have a little bit of an advantage because I watched some of the clips, the extra interviews and confessionals that they put up on the Survivor YouTube page
for this episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
as long as it's not coming from episode 3, we're good.
Oh no, it's not coming from episode 3 now. But you get real insight, and I really like that you get like some extra scenes. You get to hear more from people that probably were never heard in an episode. So I think they uploaded at least one confessional of everybody on there, and of everybody left. And
Lucy got one?
As far as them, I'm sorry, what was that?
Lucy got one too?
Yeah, even Lucy. With Paul, now in regards to Paul, more of what Kim said, but now it's just coming back to me at the clips I watched this morning. People like Brett and Chris were. I'm going to be jumping ahead just a little bit here about the whole with Paul's little medical situation. They said in their confessionals, the exclusive ones online, that they were scared. I mean, obviously, yeah, because it's, you're seeing a human being, in pain, which, it's not a very pleasant sight, and you really have concern for them. But they were, I mean, Brett was saying stuff like, I really like Paul. I wish, I need him. Or, like, they just don't need him. They're not saying, oh, I need him for numbers. They're saying, no, I actually like him. I want him to stick around a little. So they might be wanting to have him stick around for now. But, I think they genuinely do like him. But I think if they went to tribal council, or I think if he were placed with any of the millennials, they wouldn't like him.
Yeah.
Because the millennials are, they're not going to take orders from anybody out. But from what I'm seeing, it's a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the first boots of the GenX tribe, along with Rachel. But then again, I think they really care for him.
All right, guys. So Mark's on the line here again with us. So Mark, first of all, how are you doing?
Um, a little devastated, but yeah,
We'll get to that part.
yeah, I'll be fine.
I had to think about that for a while. Why was you devastated?
Now, we almost had to medevac or evacuate Mark out of where he's at right now. But we're glad that he's doing good, right?
Yeah, well, I'm alive.
Do you want to share what's going on for those who don't know?
We just had a major typhoon, and yeah, but everything is fine. We're used to stuff like this, so
Yeah, they're not fun. They're not fun, guys.
They're not
So,
fun.
Mark, we're sharing our thoughts on who's calling the shots on the GenX tribe. What do you think?
I used to think it's the three guys, the Paul, Brett, and what's his name?
Chris?
Chris.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I used to think it's the three of them. But after this episode, I'm starting to think otherwise.
Do you think Paul is in a leadership type of role, or do you think they're leading him on?
I think at this point he thinks he's in charge, but it's kind of other people are just playing along.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we hear Paul saying that. I mean, David's pretty much there for just to be there, and that he's. I think they called him like a puppy, that he's kind of just there because they want him there. But as soon as he's no longer valuable or whatever, they're gonna cut him loose. And we do see David picking up on this because he starts looking for the idol again. And I like the way he actually covered up that he was looking for the idol. He's like, "Oh, we need some stools around here. We'll go look for some rock stools." And he's actually looking for the idol. Well, how did you all think he handled that?
I think he handled it better than the first time he looked. At least he had a plan and he wasn't running like a lunatic. He definitely needed that idol, so I'm glad he found it. And nobody has any idea he has it at this point because he set forth a plan and followed through and found the idol. It's probably the only thing that he's done since he's hit the island.
Which leads
Well,
us
he
to
did make fire.
He did.
Oh,
make
yes,
fire,
he
yes.
did make the fire, yes. But that wasn't even enough for them because they still were like...
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So what?
Go ahead.
So what do y'all think of the way the idols are hidden this season? Mark?
I thought it was gonna be a little more
Hard?
there, right in front of your face like that, because that was kind of obvious, wasn't it?
I think it was obvious if you're in the right place. But, I mean, just not like you're going to be looking at every coconuts on the ground. However, if you are looking for coconuts, like, hey, this coconut's already here. What the hell? There's paint on there.
Yeah, well, for us,
Yeah.
we get the whole treatment of multiple camera angles, and was there at any point where it was zoomed in on?
I don't think it
ones,
zoomed in until he noticed that it was there. The camera was, from what I remember, the camera was showing it, but he was and then he just kind of noticed, and then it zoomed in. So it wasn't like telling us, like, hey, it's right here, it's right here.
Yeah, and from what I saw in his video on YouTube, according to him in the confessional that didn't air, he said he was at chair number 9.
Yeah, he looked pretty tired.
Found it. He was at chair number 9, and he was, where is it? And he found it.
Now, what am I gonna say here? Because I don't know if I like the way they're hiding idols this season or not. I mean, it's different. It's different. People are going to be looking in
Yeah.
the obvious, in quote unquote obvious places, like what he was looking for in the trees and in these obscure locations, and they might not be looking for something as in plain sight like this was. And I say it's plain sight, but it's not like you're going to be looking for something that's there.
But this is what confuses me, is that if it was in a coconut, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How did it get into the coconut?
Super glue.
Okay.
That's just natural. It's natural, those things.
Yeah, when Jeff was given the hints that, it's going to be hidden in nature, I'm thinking, you've already done this before, Probes. But now that I'm seeing it, okay.
It's a little bit different.
All right, no, I see what you're doing here. Okay, I'll give you that Jiffy Pop.
I see positives, but I still don't know why they went away from hiding it in the challenges, like they did in Cambodia. Unless they're only gonna do that for returning seasons.
That's silly.
But I don't know. Why did they get away from that?
Maybe because they want to make it harder for the All Stars. Like it's now coming back to me with All Star Season 8. They didn't give them flint to begin with, or they didn't give them any cooking pot or any running water.
That was the first season that they just started off with machete.
I'm feeling that they did the same thing in Marquesas, but then again, Marquesas was my first season. I just remember that they were giving them less for Marquesas, but
They
I remember
gave them
that
less, but they gave them something to eat at least.
Mm-hmm. Right. But with All Stars, they had there was the whole problem of don't drink the water. Sue has no problem drinking the water, and Rudy, I've been in the Navy. I can drink this water. And the guy's, he's still, no, you can go into a coma. No, doesn't care. Rudy's still with us.
I can't believe it. How old is he now?
I think he's a little over 80. He was, don't get too scared about this. He was in a little bit of a car accident about 2 years ago.
Oh, goodness.
But he seemed to be okay. And I read in the article, or whatever the article was shared in POS, he just walked away. He just walked
I can see him do that. I can see him just like getting out of the car.
And it just said the person in the car, Rudy, he got out of the victim, or the person left the scene of the crash. Classic Rudy.
That's funny. Kim, what do you think of how the idols are done this season?
They are relatively easier to find. Maybe it was made easier to find so David could find this idol. I like when they're hitting hard and they got to dig deep and climb trees barefoot, but maybe again, some of the people on both tribes are a little bit simple when it comes to Survivor, so they can't make it too hard because they want these idols found. Because really, the only person on both tribes that went looking for an idol was David. Mm-hmm. Nobody's even looking, and to me, I would look, but not as obnoxious as David did the first time. I would have done it low key, like let me grab some firewood, let me hunt a hog. I would have found something.
Now, David was smarter this time around as far as when he was looking for the idol. But when he saw, I think it was Chris coming, he took off running. I'm like, what are you doing? You were doing so well and not being suspicious, and all of a sudden you just start running through the forest or the trees. That's gonna make it a little bit more suspicious on what you're doing.
He's very, very socially awkward. Yeah. He in situations he doesn't know what to do, and I don't know how he'll do with the tribe mix, because I don't know how much the millennials are gonna like him. He's not quirky enough for them, so I don't know where he's gonna fit.
He might, if he ends up with part of the Freaks and Geeks alliance, he might do well there.
He will do. I think Zeke will like him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hannah will. I think there'll be some sympathy, like he's one of us. But that's who he'd have to go to. It'd have to be the Will, the Zeke, the Hannah. They'll embrace him.
So, speaking of the Millennial tribe.
Well, we didn't go into about. There was one thing to note about the GenX tribe with Ken.
Oh, that came a little bit afterwards, but we'll get to that part right now.
Cool.
Because we did switch. Right there is where in the episode it switched over to the Millennial tribe. What is their tribe name? Vanu?
It's really confusing when we have the Val from Australians.
Yeah.
I think it's Vanal. We'll know it by the time.
I think
tribes or whatever.
I think T-Bird on a tweet she called it Vanuatu. It's a Vanuatu tribe. But we go over to Figgy and Taylor, who are just they are not even trying to cover what they're doing. They're making out in the middle of the night with Michaela. Just not only seeing him, I don't know if she saw him, but she heard him at least. And,
no breath stank.
You smell. You're out there for days. You don't have. You can't wash your body, so your body has to be stank, and you can't brush your teeth. I can't imagine kissing someone like that. But wasn't it? Who was the one that Colleen had the showmance with in season 1 of Survivor?
Greg Buis.
I was trying to. And did they have sex? I could have sworn they did.
No, it was. I think it was. I mean, a lot of shady stuff went on in the first season of Survivor. Some involving sandwiches and whatnot. There's all sorts of stories. I mean, with the Stacey Stillman lawsuit and whatnot.
I think the one we're thinking about
It was purely platonic.
I think when we're talking about possible hookups on the island, it's more of possibly Ozzy and Amanda.
I think Robin. There was the rumor about.
Oh yeah.
It was. I think when Micronesia started up, Jeff told an interview where he said for the first time that along with what the tribes will be given are first aid kit and condoms.
Yeah.
And he just said we don't want any survivor babies. So if we're keeping that in mind, there's a story that I wrote on Sucks that apparently at the Shapiro tribe, they were running out of condoms.
I did hear that one, yeah.
And I heard Jerry, when she was interviewed around that time and they asked her about it, she said that they made balloons out of them or balloon animals or something.
I just don't understand how much you have to smell from everywhere. And I'm not trying to be gross.
No, yeah.
Why you want to hook up? And I don't get it. And I don't get, Michaela called it out. She didn't care. She called Figgy right out in front of the tribe. And I'm like, good. I was so happy that she said something. I'm like, call these people out because this is dangerous. They are one vote. They're going to vote together. They're never going to vote each other out. This isn't something you do. Showmances are not, they don't belong in reality shows, and you cut their throat, cut off their head as soon as it happens.
Yep.
And
I remember someone, it was on Twitter, someone was like, man, I like the way Michaela didn't take anything from Figgy. And I'm like, well, she's from Texas. You don't mess with Texas. And
she didn't.
she let her have it. She didn't take anything from Figgy.
Figgy's also not likable.
Yeah.
Not only is she a showman, she's not likable. So
she's not likable anymore after this week.
Yeah,
No.
I feel like some people were still on Team Figgy, and I kind of was still kind of clinging on to Team Figgy. Not so much after this episode, mainly because I feel like she's putting herself in a bad position where she shouldn't, and they tried, and this is another thing that I like we had talked about. The show was going to try to push these stereotypes of millennials and the Gen Xers, and we even have Zeke talking about, I think it's Zeke talking about how millennials, they really don't take hookups as serious as someone like in Gen X. So hooking up out there might not be as serious. However, you're playing Survivor, and this is what, and Zeke said this as well. You're playing on Survivor. You need to keep in mind that a hookup, even though it might not be serious for you, it's going to be serious because you're now a team of two, And I don't know. What do you guys think of the tribe reaction, other than Michaela? I don't know if we saw much more. We saw a little bit of Jay and possibly Hannah.
I really don't know. I just thought Michaela was just wonderful in her time that she talked. I'm just saying, when she saw them at night, or then when they were, not to jump ahead, but just two other things that she said that made me very, very happy. One being when they were deciding on who should go for the next tribal council, she was saying in the confessional, Biggie needs to go. Get your kisses and go, or something like that. And then she talked about something about pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was talking about how Figgy's magic is her sex appeal, but she was like, "You need to pull the rabbit out of the hat. You don't just show up with the rabbit." So
just marry me, Michaela. Bless you. Bless you.
Mark,
I don't know what else. And while we're talking about showmances, I mean, Rob and Amber were able to stick together till the very end, although they were separated for that one little, the last minute tribe swap between where everybody from Shapiro except Amber went over to Mogo Mogo, and literally
vice versa.
And vice versa, right? We know that they ended up getting married, but I'm sure diehard fans of Survivor will know that there are quite a number, that a lot of the contestants of Survivor have dated, and some of them have led to marriages. There are 4. Rob and Amber are 1. There's Eric and Jamie from China, Keith and Whitney from South Pacific, and then the one that we can count them, but they didn't meet on the same season, and this might surprise some people. Alex Bell from Amazon and Kim Powers from Africa. So,
that's the one I didn't know about.
Yeah, as long as that they're giving the Bachelor and the Bachelorette a run for their money, I'm good to go. And it makes sense that at least with the first 3 I mentioned, because you're out there and you're stripped of everything like electronics and whatnot, and you're just spending your time just talking to these people. Whereas in like a dating show like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, you're just knowing them for like what? Couple of hours.
Not only that, you're not only getting to know one person, you're getting to know a bunch of people on these little dates or little things,
right.
Whatever. I'm guessing that's how it works. I'm not sure if that's how it works, but it's not like you're put in like you said, you're put in a situation where you're stripped of everything. You're trying to survive. Not as much now, I don't feel like it's the survival part, but it's still a survival kind of game. So you're struggling with these people, and you get close to these people, and it's pretty obvious that a bunch of these people are still friends, even all these years later.
Oh yeah.
Some of these turn into romances. They date. Some of them don't last long after, but we have these people who have married, and
I mean, even more serious with the sepia ones that are come to my mind. Recent, I think it was a year ago. Stephen was the pastor or the ordained minister at JT's wedding.
Yes. And
even an earlier example, the sepia, her son, her son's godfather is Sean. Rector.
Oh, really? Wow, I didn't know that one. So, yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
Mark, what are your thoughts on the Figgy and Taylor stuff?
First of all, it's kind of gross, and second of all, the two of them are just kind of, I don't know, they weren't thinking it through, and they weren't thinking about how other people were perceiving them while that was going on, and I think that's gonna be one of their fatal flaws in this game. It's just they don't care about the game. They're just there for booty.
Yeah, and I think even Figgy says, why is everyone making a big deal about it? I mean, we're millennials or whatever, and that's why Zeke said it. I mean, yes, you're millennials, but you're in a game where a couple can go far if nobody does anything about it, you know. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So we go from that. I don't know if I consider that a power couple yet, but we'll go from that couple to another power couple that happened this week with Ken and David, and we see this beautiful shot of Fiji underwater, and we have Ken hunting for what is it, the octopus? Octopus
Yeah,
bride?
that was awesome. It was huge.
Yeah, and I think it was Bloomberg who tweeted. They took a screenshot of that octopus out of the water, and you could see the background, and you see all these colors in the picture. And he's like, "How can you not tell?" Or I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines like, "Look at this picture and tell me this is not the most beautifully shot TV show there is around."
Yeah, I saw that.
And
it was a beautiful shot.
And the HD has just made it so much better for Survivor.
Again, this is the first time that they're taking a season or location that previously aired in standard definition and now it's airing in HD.
And do you know if they're in the same area in Fiji as they did?
I just checked. I've been going in one Survivor group. We like doing a little thing, finding yearbook photos of Survivor contestants, just using Classmates.com. And I've been going through the people in Fiji, and I think they're in the same location. I don't know how to say it, the Mamaku Islands or.
Yeah, because the first time they were in Fiji in the standard definition, Fiji didn't look like that. I don't remember it looking like that at all.
I don't remember it looking like that. No.
It looks beautiful now.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it wasn't before, but it's just the shots that were taken. So
I'll have to check that out. Okay.
So we get a little confession of Ken, who says that he used to be socially awkward, and that David reminds him of what he used to be, and they kind of become this kind of a couple of two here, with David right away confessing to him or telling him that he has that idol to kind of cement the relationship there. But we do see that Ken is not a part of that major alliance, because he says that we are on the bottom. He even tells Cece we're a part of the bottom of the alliance, but if we can work together, we can actually get to the top. So we were, I think we left that as a question last time around, is if Ken is part of the alliance or not. He's not.
Ken seems like go ahead, Ken.
Now, Ken is not a part of that alliance, and it was very clear in episode 1 that he wasn't part of that alliance. I think that the three guys, Paul, Chris, and Brett, pretty much are together with themselves. They don't pay attention to everybody else. And if the other tribe members can get together, they could take them out. They have the numbers. You know, you have to play smart. Ken and David need to, or Ken, because David, well, he can't speak for himself, needs to go to the other tribe members and say, listen, Paul is running this show. We have the numbers. We have to vote him out. This is where it has to be, because they will start picking us off one by one. But I think the merge is next week. You know, I think they're swapping tribes next week. So
yeah,
that's out the door. And it's really on where these tribes go, because Paul, if they do an even swap of numbers, it'll be okay. But if you have too many on one tribe, they're going to vote each other out.
And I think Aaron had wanted to talk about their relationship here on how Ken and David are actually helping each other out.
Yeah, it's interesting that Ken, of all people, would. It actually surprised me when Ken said that. I think he even used the exact words socially anxious or socially awkward, or I think he used the same. Yeah, and I think it's. I mean, even the week before, he went up to David and showed him. He had this with the stick bug crawling on his arm, and he said, "Here, try this." You know, David, freaks out about it. So I think Ken is being a nice. He's trying to be a nice guy and trying to help him out, even though technically David's a little bit older. But it's cool to see them bond, and you wouldn't really expect. I'm just guessing like somebody like Ken would be, they're probably a little, maybe a little introverted. I mean, he can't be that introverted. I mean, he's a model.
I think he grew up a little bit introverted, but as he became a model, I think that helped him branch out and actually. And now this is just me speculating, just based on what he said. But I kind of see their relationship being like a mentor kind of thing, especially even though Ken is younger. But kind of like in Cambodia when not really kind of like Cambodia, but in that there's that one challenge when Fishback was struggling with the rings, and we see what's his name? Oh my god, I just blanked. The winner.
Jeremy.
I can't believe I forgot his name. Jeremy. We see Jeremy kind of just like, come on, Steven, or come on, kind of just like trying to get him to have confidence in himself. I could see that kind of what might be happening. However, it's not in the same. I think it's going to be a little bit more interpersonal, the way Ken is going to work with David.
I think you're forgetting the part with Steven that he cried like a baby in the confessional.
Yes, he did.
And I'm so happy that you couldn't remember Jeremy's name, because it goes with the whole idea of the person who wins an all-star season is either female, unmemorable, or they're related to an unmemorable female. Now with Jeremy's win, that was on, and that check went right to Val. So yes, the whole tradition continues. So. But it will be interesting to see what happens with David and Ken, if anything comes of it. Because in this pre-show interview, I was really bored by the first few minutes of Ken's video. But then once he started talking about how he has a daughter and how he likes to give back, something about homeless shelters, I can't remember. But he seems like a legit guy. I don't think he would.
Sincere. He seems sincere.
Sincere. Yes, that is the word.
And
yes.
I think that he's sincere with David. And I think that they could do well together if he can kind of take David under his wing and says, we got this together. Okay, but again, I think David's a great guy, but if he was in my alliance and he's on my draft, I'd vote him out, because he's just all around. He was so bad at that challenge, and they still won, but ultimately he's just really bad. But what I love about him is he's afraid of this and he's still pushing himself, and I love that about him. He's pushing himself even though this is 100% out of his comfort zone, and I give him credit for that, because not many people can.
Yeah, and he's one of the people that we can actually see grow in the season, and that's not always something that you see from a lot of survivors. But with him, I feel as long as he's there for the long haul, even if he doesn't get to the finals, we can actually see hopefully we can see him not only get stronger or build his confidence. I hope he gets a little bit of redemption if he does last towards the end of the game.
I'd like him to make it to jury.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about Paul here at the, and I know Aaron kind of talked about it already, but his almost medevac. That was a scary moment, Paul even said to him, I'm scared. He didn't know what was going on. And I tweeted out and I goes, this moments like this, scenes like this show how real Survivor is, and I hate seeing them. I said it last week. I like watching, or I like seeing the kind of quote unquote backstage or what is it called, behind the scenes kind of footage, but not when it's like this. Just like in Cole Wrong, it was like 30 minutes of just medical attention on these 3 survivors, and I really don't like seeing these people go through that part of when they're playing Survivor.
Yeah,
this was small potatoes compared to Karong.
Yeah,
because Karong was during a challenge and Jeff was going from one tribe to another, because we all know it's the Jeff Probst show. But and that was, even if it wasn't the Jeff Probst show, it had a challenge and people were dropping like flies.
Yeah. With
this, it was at camp, and the one thing before I forget to mention it, you could tell that this one was real, because you could hear, because there was captions on the screen, because it's already been the second episode. I really don't know these people's voices. But on the screen, legit, for like a couple of seconds, you can see that they're saying that these are all coming from a producer.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know there was a contestant named Producer this season.
I
got more time than Lucy.
I was happy that Paul was okay. But when David said he was hoping, not that he wanted Paul to have a heart attack by any means, he was hoping that Paul was medevaced, I said I would have wanted that too if I was
in that position.
On anyone. But if you're thinking strategically and you're thinking numbers, you're thinking let him go before me. But I want to touch base on the one challenge where Caleb went out. There has to be someone saying it is 115 degrees outside. They clearly couldn't have had enough water to complete this challenge. Yeah, let's not do this. There has to be something, because way too many of them got sick. And if Caleb had, I think, more fat than muscle, he might have been okay, but I think his lack of fat is what ultimately hurt him.
Yeah. I was about to tweet out something when it was still not known that Paul was not having a heart attack, because it ended up being he was dehydrated. But it actually looked a lot like a heart attack. I saw my father go through a heart attack, and it is not an easy thing to see, to witness. It looked very much like what my father was going through at the time when he was having his heart attack. And I actually got teary-eyed because it kind of threw me back to that, and it taking me back. I do not want to see this kind of footage on Survivor. It makes it way too real, and I know Survivor is real. I never doubt it for any chance. And I think some people joke that it's even gotten a little bit easier for the contestants, but this kind of stuff just brings you back to brings you back to reality, that they are struggling out there. It is not something that is easy to do.
Do you think that they should supply them more water?
It depends on the location.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if it's something. It's just in the location, because I know Cambodia was very hot during Koh Rong, it was a time where it was just extremely hot, and I think even during the Cambodia season, they said that it was very, very hot. But then they had rain, so that kind of helped them out. Fiji, I don't think they had too much issues the first time they were in Fiji, so I don't know if they need that.
Well, Papa Smurf.
Oh yeah, that's
And
true.
he decided. I always thought he was a medevac, but it turned out that he actually said that he quit.
Yeah, he quit.
It was the same thing as Dana in the Philippines. But with a Wrong, I mean, they should have, everybody can join in, done their research in that what happened in the French season. 2 years before that, with the one of the contestants dying right there in the first, and it was exactly the same time frame of when Karong was being filmed that this all happened. Like, I guess it was just that time of the year that it was just really hot out there, and then it just, that one of the contestants died. That season ended up being canceled.
Yeah.
And then the person who operated on the person took all the negative feedback to heart and killed themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's just so tragic.
Yeah,
it's just
they really jumped on him on as far as that he didn't do his job, or that he shouldn't have been out there to begin with, because I believe that contestant was already having issues beforehand, before they started the immunity challenge, and when all that happened, he took a lot of the blame, and he couldn't handle it, and he committed suicide.
What season was this?
This was French.
The France,
yeah.
French season. It was 2013, so it probably would have been. I remember it, making on online headlines, like a French version of Survivor, and then you see a picture of Jeff Probst, and you're getting worried. Oh, it's the French version, but I'm still reading the article and just, oh my God, this is nuts.
And
that is crazy.
I think the Belgium version, I think it was, of Survivor, someone passed away there too from a heart attack during the game, and they continued. They told the contestants he passed away, and they continued.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so some people have died out there, but luckily it hasn't happened with our version.
I just think the American version, they are just a little bit better prepared, I believe, and they don't want anything like this to happen. I think if something like that happened, that might be the end of it.
It's probably where most of the money's going, and the challenges are now, especially with One World, do-it-yourself challenges.
Yeah.
Like that.
But I think Australia, they give them water, rice, and beans, and they do have the medical right there when that one chick got the infection, like on her armpit. Kate. Yeah.
Well, in Second Chances, they had one of those water container things out there. So I don't know if they didn't have that in Code Wrong and they just added that later on. I don't remember.
They probably added it later on because we can put another coin in the jar. Code Wrong was filmed before Cambodia.
Yeah.
And they were even saying, hey, guys, we'll build you a shelter, but, more than one of you's got to not want to compete for immunity. And the only people who didn't were Joe and Keith. And Keith, God love him, I want to stop the Golden Boy.
So, well, I mean, Mark, how far is the Cambodia location from where you live? Is that close by, or is it near?
It's a few hours away by plane. By plane, not by car or anything.
Does the heat get as bad where you're at?
We're a little further from the equator than them, so it gets bad, but not quite as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Although in recent years, it's starting to get pretty warm, like close to like 90 degrees.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Like I've said it before, I'm from Texas. We live pretty much 90% of the time in 95-degree weather, 96-degree weather. But I can't imagine trying to do this stuff out there in that weather. I mean, I can go outside while I'm at work and go check on the shop, and I'll come back drenched and sweat. So I can't even imagine how it's going to be trying to run a challenge in that heat. Okay, so
speaking of challenges,
yeah, going to the challenge, we spent a lot of time on that medevac, but I mean, I think we had a lot to say on that, or the almost medevac. The challenge comes around, and we see Paul's already doing better. He competes. He actually doesn't do that bad, I believe, in that challenge. And I even commented on this on one of the Survivor chats that I'm on. Does this challenge, do you think that they would have tried to do it after a tribal swap or anything like that? Because you would think that the swimming part would put the GenX tribe at a disadvantage. You would think. But I feel like they kind of kept it in there well enough to stay in the challenge, though.
Well, I think the true star of the funny thing, there's two things about, or actually three about the challenge. One being, Paul ended up taking the idol, and he said something like, Doc, I had to rewind it because when it went to commercial break, because I missed what he said. Dr. Joe was able to save me from the dead or something like that. And it cuts to Jeff cracking a smile. As for the challenge itself, I thought it was cool towards the end. It just became a human-sized carny game, a carnival game, just throwing the rings on which I thought was really cool. And credit needs to be given to Cece. She really, really performed well on that challenge.
Sunday was good at that challenge too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that surprised me that GenX did that well in the swimming challenge. Just because I like I said, I felt like they were going to be at a disadvantage, but I mean I was wrong. And they did fall behind at early, but they were able to keep it in there.
Yes, they were. After it was good. I wanted GenX to win because I'm Team GenX.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said last time, I'm millennial, kind of, sort of, barely, but I consider myself more of a Gen X, and yeah, I was actually cheering for Gen X, even though I feel like I had 2 or 3 players on the Millennials that I actually like, and I only have really now 2 people that I really like on Gen X now.
I love Zeke on Millennials. Yeah. I just adore him.
Yeah, that's why I started that hashtag. This Zeke is on fire, because I've really liked him more and more now with episode 2. I didn't think I was gonna like him. Like I said before, just based on his pregame, his pregame interviews and all that, I'm like, oh, this guy's he's gonna like just make me cringe. And no, I like him. David didn't do so well in the immunity challenge, though.
He did horrible. He was so bad. Like I said, I don't think he's gonna make it to jury. I think if he's not the next boot, he's the boot after. He's gonna go as soon as he uses his idol. Right after that, he's gone.
When they started jumping in with the goggles, I tweeted out, because don't drop the goggles or don't lose the goggles like Darnell, and I tagged him, and he actually replied and he goes, oh no, I think they saw my season, and then he goes, oh, those damn goggles, or damn those goggles, or something like that. Like, he has a good what's it called? What am I trying to say? I've been blanking all this.
Sense of humor.
Yeah, a good sense of humor on the way he went out, and and I don't feel like he's real bitter like a lot of first boots are. I feel like he has a good sense of humor.
Darnell was robbed. We were robbed of a character.
Yes.
Because I adored him in his pre-show interview, and then when he had to go first, I'm like, crap. But then luckily we have Ty, and then of course Debbie.
Yeah. So we still got some
Debbie
good characters.
was awesome.
Yeah, we still got some good characters out of there.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like how we got robbed. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't hear what you said. Yeah, there you go.
No, I said just kind of like how we got robbed this episode. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So let me go. Let's go to the Millennial Tribe because GenX won the immunity, and we go to the other tribe. Which, I mean, the GenX tribe didn't really get much airtime this time around, other than the very beginning and the possible medevac. Other than that, it was all spent on the Millennial Tribe beach, and I keep calling them Millennial and Gen X, basically because that's the way we've been hearing them. And I actually even tweeted last night. Does anybody else mind that they're not called by their actual tribe names? And I don't know. I
want them to be called by their tribe names because they were given a tribe name. It's right there on the buff.
Yes, and
they've been on there since Nicaragua. So I don't know what's the deal, probes. But then again,
the thing is, when they have themed seasons like this, like Millennials versus Gen X or Brains seasons, they call them by their categories and not their tribe names, and so I think we're kind of just used to it
until they're swapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until they're swapped.
Yeah, there was one funny moment. I did not look back at this, or it's a season I don't want to rewatch. But I've heard afterwards the first episode of Caramoan. At one point, Jeff was really getting into it with the immunity challenge. And at that point, he was calling them the fans and the favorites. But at one point, I guess he said, okay, so-and-so for the fans and so-and-so for the heroes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like, wow, he's really showing who he wants to win. The favorites are the heroes for him.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's more of a nitpick here. Like I said, I'm what's called guilty of doing it as well. I've been calling the Millennials and Gen X. The Millennials, there's I don't even know how to say it. That's the thing. Venua. Yeah, I'm not sure how to say it. And then Gen X is Takali. See, has Jeff even said their names?
Not yet.
No, he doesn't do that until probably. Or we just have a guess. I remember when Micronesia, and for the longest time, I always thought they were Arai.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it turns out they're Irai.
Oh, Irai. Okay.
So, I've said it in previous episodes. I am a fan of the culture seeping into the season. I liked it back in the day when they were told not only what their tribe name was, but what they were named after.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very disappointed that they stopped doing that, and that was actually one of the first things that they started getting rid of. But I would love for them to come back to not only telling them their name of the tribes and going by the name of the tribes, but telling us exactly what they mean. We can look it up, yes, but I prefer that to be part of the show. So like I said, I don't even know how to pronounce the name because we haven't heard it. It's Venua, and Takili. I'm not even sure, but so we're going back to the Venua tribe, and we have a bit of something going on here with, from what we saw. felt like Figgy was going to be in trouble. I think everybody, as far as people that I'd spoken to, thought Figgy was going to be in trouble, and then we kind of, and it doesn't end up happening. But what did y'all think of the pre-tribal millennial tribe?
I thought Hannah and Michaela flipping and voting out Mari was a huge mistake. They are the outcasts, especially Hannah. You voted out someone that was in your alliance. For what? Because you felt pressure from quote unquote the cool girl? No, because that cool girl, you're on the bottom. You're nowhere near them. I would have voted her out anyway and taken the chance of it going to a tie or what have you, but you have to show there's no loyalty. The only people who are loyal to each other are Taylor, Figgy, Jay, and Michelle. Them four are the only ones that are loyal. The others are flipping. Even though Zeke still voted out Figgy, Will flip too, right? Didn't Will vote out Mari?
Yes.
Let me check who the...
Will did vote for Mari.
I don't understand why.
So yeah, I mean, I have a theory on what happened with Hannah. Last week I had said the reason why I was choosing Mari and why I like Mari was because she heard Hannah's pitch about the Freaks and Geeks Alliance, and she didn't say no to it, but she also kept an open mind that she might want to go with the Triforce Alliance. However, that might also have been her downfall, because even though we didn't see her flat out say that, she told us that in confessional, Hannah might have picked up on that she was not going to be all in for her alliance, and I feel that might have pushed Hannah to go with the Triforce Alliance, because she kind of felt that if she didn't do that and Mari later on flips, they're going to be in a bad position. That's only conjecture, because I don't know that that's what happened. Mari didn't really touch on Hannah, other than saying in her exit interview, I think she said that she doesn't blame Hannah because she did the right thing to do as far as not be in the minority and vote with the majority. However, that little stunt that she did at the confessional, taking forever to vote, that doesn't really put her in a good position either, because they're like, well, I mean, you're still on the fence, right? So. And
I'm looking here. It was a 7-3 vote.
Yeah. Yeah. So even with Hannah voting with Mari, she would have been on the bottom, because Will did vote against Mari, and in the exit interview, Mari actually said that Will's vote hurt her more than Hannah, because Will is actually a fan of Smosh Gaming, and he's the one that recognized her, because she had said, well, like, take this with a grain of salt, because this is the post game, right? Mari said that she had told him that she played video games on YouTube, but that's all that she said. It was Will who recognized her and is a fan of hers that kind of blew her up, and then just said, like, well, no, she's she's really good at whatever, and he might have over exaggerated or said it in a way that people thought that she was really really good and really strategic, and that might have actually caused her the game. So yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. Any additional thoughts on the tribal and what was going on?
Salty.
Hashtag salty. Hashtag pissed. Hashtag not friendship.
Also with Michelle, with her talking to Hannah during the whole tribal council, and I remember commenting with Michelle being a missionary, I didn't know if she was really selling Hannah. I'm just thinking, I'm not sure Hannah to vote for Mari, or is she more convincing when she's going around telling people to convert to Mormonism?
Oh, is that?
Oh,
or her. I think that's what she is. She's missionaries, right? Or I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
she
know.
is.
Well, I don't know if it's Mormonism or if
Yes,
it's
sir.
Christian or anything like that. But yeah, yeah. I don't know. I find it weird that Probst didn't jump on it right away, because he
He
usually
was just going, "Whoa, you guys are talking."
Yeah. Well,
And then
yeah,
Maury
but he
said
didn't say
something
that
about
until
puppies'
Figgy.
butts.
He didn't say it till Figgy though. I mean, it was Figgy that pointed it out, and that's when he kind of, because they do show them talking, and tribal council's going on, and I kind of feel that that Probst really like them, because they're more super fans, like I think, than the Gen X tribe. They're more excited to be there. They're actually wanting to be there, and they seemed more of like starstruck to be at tribal council, and I think Jeff likes that.
Yeah.
Jeff likes
now
that.
You just reminded me. Adam, seeing Adam's reaction, and even Hannah, are just them looking all going. Or what was it that Adam said, that he felt like he's in his living room, or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember Zeke saying, "It goes, it's like I think he said he liked being there because it was beautiful out there."
It's just they're geeking out over tribal council. Oh, that's so adorable.
Even Hannah was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it! I can't believe I'm speaking to Jeff Probst or something like that." And she was really nervous. And here's one thing though: Probst gave Mari a chance to kind of quell down or settle down what was going on with the whole chat and all that was going, and Mari didn't take the chance to kind of help herself out. She kind of just said, "Oh, I love Hannah," whatever. And she's probably talking about puppies and butts.
So
she just kind of brushed them off.
Yeah, and I think she should have used that moment right there to try to get Hannah back on her side. But when she said puppies and butts, well, when she said puppies and butts, I kind of pictured in my head Tina Belcher from Bob's Burgers. I don't know if any of you all see that, but she's kind of like, and
I know what you're talking about.
And then she's like, she loves butts. So I kind of picture that with Hannah there. But yeah, anything else?
Do you think
that
might have pushed
of
Hannah over the edge?
You think what?
Do you think what Mari said at tribal council might have pushed Hannah over the edge?
I don't think it pushed her over the edge. I think it didn't help to bring her back.
I don't hear someone.
I think we kind of just, yeah.
But the thing that I posted, or the thing that came to my mind, when Mari said salty, and I'm just thinking, and if you're on POS, then you already know where I'm going with this one. I just immediately thought, and I posted a picture later. I posted, salty. Was she making a very obscure shell, and that she's a missionary, and just name dropped the children's video, the Christian's video series about the
what's it called?
Anamorphic
there you go.
book. Yeah.
She says that it is something that she says on her videos when she loses to somebody, and she didn't like the way she lost. So.
Okay, so only her fans are gonna know that, all right?
Yeah. So Will might have known what she was talking about. So yeah, it's game over for Mari. Do we have anything else to say about this particular tribal council or the episode in general?
I'm sad to see her go. I thought that the Misfits could have done something. I was looking forward to them kind of tearing apart Jay, Taylor, Figgy, and Michelle. Mm-hmm. But they were influenced by the cool kids to do what they wanted. So, and I don't think that Mari fought hard enough in tribal council to save herself. I mean, like we were talking before, she kind of insulted Hannah. You know, like, I'm not worried about what Hannah's saying, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? You need to word that different. No, I trust Hannah. You know, she's a loyal girl, and I believe that she's going to vote the right way, and that's not insulting her.
I think she's trying to say that she trusts Hannah. She's trying to show that she trusts Hannah, but it came off wrong.
Yes, very wrong.
Yeah.
And I think there was a part that we probably didn't see of Mari, because I don't know how I don't know how they're thinking out there, but there had to be some sort of social, you know, some sort of miscommunication with Mari and some of the other tribe, or maybe she just came off as, I mean, with the. I don't watch her videos, but you know, looking on paper, okay, she's a video gamer. People would perceive her as someone who's a bit of a loner. But I mean, she's on one of the most popular YouTube channels ever. But I really don't know. Maybe it was just because there's got to be something, you know, like. They could have taken out David last week, but there was just something about Rachel that made her worse than him.
What you're saying is that we might not be seeing something about Mari that might have rubbed people the wrong way or something like that?
Because she might have thought that, I mean, some of her confessionals came off as she had this all down, or she just, I don't know.
I think it's more, I'm going to put more credit to Michelle. Michelle actually being able to rally people against her, because Will was all in for either getting rid of Figgy or maybe even Taylor or Jay, but it was Michelle that said, let's get rid of Mari. She's more of a strategic, and Figgy is an easy vote later on, which, I mean, she might be an easier vote later on, but not if you're down in numbers, so. Yeah. So let me, I'm sorry, you were going to say something, Mark?
Nope. No, just agreeing with you.
So let's get to the part where we say we're going to do every week. Is there any character or any player that you guys may have flip-flopped on if you like them or dislike them, or now you like them or not? From episode 1 to episode 2, any change of heart on some of these players?
Not for me. Nothing yet. I still don't like Figgy Taylor. I kind of liked Jay. Let me take that back real quick, because Jay was realizing that the showmance between Taylor and Figgy was bad, and not because he was jealous, just because he's saying Taylor's supposed to be my boy, and he's not gonna be my bro if Figgy is here. So
I think he's a little jealous.
I'm hoping with the tribe swap that Figgy and Taylor get separated.
Yeah, I
just want to add that.
I forgot to add something that Jay said, and goes, come on, you don't want to get a girl, because then all of a sudden instead of going out and bowling with the guys, you're at home with your girl.
Yes.
I'm like, that's such a young thing, such a thing for a young person to say.
Bros before hoes.
Yeah, I started laughing at that. I was like, what the hell? So, Mark, anyone you've changed your opinion on?
Yeah, the Taylor Figgy thing. I was kind of neutral about them. I was neutral box on them for the first episode, and they've completely gone down the dark side for me. It's unsalvageable. They're gone. If they go to tribal council next, they are freaking gone.
Aaron?
That's all I gotta say.
Aaron?
Yeah, I thought Figgy was promising at first, but when she aligned with the two guys, I felt really sorry that she was in a really weird three-way with these two guys or whatever. But now she's going to stick with them, and Okay, well, you've gone down on my list here. In terms of anybody who I think of better now, I gotta say a producer over at GenX. See them, if things go their way, even though they're not seen on screen, I think that they could be the 5th place goddess at least.
For me, I'm gonna make it a clean sweep with the guys at least. Figgy, I didn't think she was gonna take it all. I was hoping that she might be able to actually play without putting all her cards out on the table. Pretty much like Michaela said, you don't show up with the rabbit in your hand. If you're gonna use your sex appeal as a magic trick on these guys, you need to pull the rabbit out of the hat. You need to don't make it so obvious what the trick's gonna be. And she did it. She showed up with the rabbit in her hand, and she played. She showed everybody exactly what she's gonna do, and that in itself just showed me that she is not playing it as smart as she should. I feel like if she would have tried to hit that better, she would have been in a lot better position later on. Even not this is of course not knowing what's going to happen at the end of the game. She might make it far, and she might make it with that alliance, but as of right now, I don't think it's smart. So yeah, I think he went down in my book. Anybody choosing a new winner this week?
I kind of have to.
Yeah, me too.
Who though? I don't see any of the rest of these people as like kind of I don't get any winner vibes from any of these people. Maybe Brett.
I'm starting to get a winner vibe from Ken, and I think Kim said that last week.
I did.
Aaron?
I really don't like to have winner picks because I just try to root for as many people as possible, and then I don't get upset. I think that was like I think I started that, I don't know how many seasons ago. Probably at least 10 years ago, so what, Guatemala.
Is that so that you won't, so that if you're a person you're rooting for doesn't win, you won't get upset like everybody got upset?
I never want to say. I think the only person that I think I picked correctly, but in my mind, when I saw Todd's profile for China, I thought he's a Mormon, like all these characteristics, like the gay Mormon flight attendant. And I'm just looking at him, and I'm just looking at his profile, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy's the winner. But I'm not going to say it aloud, so shh. But I don't know. I've really, at this point, who I like for GenX, David's still got some potential for me. Ken, I think, has gone up. Really nice guy, and I said before about his. I want to expand on his pre-show interview. With him, I said that he bored me for the first few minutes, but until he started talking about his daughter, that's when I became interested. So I think if he were to tell this all to his tribe mates, it's going to touch their hearts. And then he can play the game Chris Daughtery style, opening up that back door.
But do you say that to get to somebody, like to get somebody's trust, something like that, or do you say that at the very end when you're sitting in the final two and hope? Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what happened to the end of the podcast. We were already getting ready to say our goodbyes. We were going to go ahead and talk about Australian Survivor. However, we went very long on this episode, so hopefully we can get around to it next week. We would love to hear more of your guys' thoughts on this season, and of course on Australian Survivor. You can find my co-host here on Twitter and other social media. You can find Mark at MarcoPolo310, Aaron at Aaron_Con, and Kim at Kim_is__board. You can always tweet at us and let us know what you think about this season, the Australian Survivor, or just anything Survivor related. You can find our videos here on YouTube as well as on your iTunes or your favorite Android podcast app. Just look up at Perspective or as Spy Shack Podcast. You can also find us on nerdfeed.com, your location to feed your nerd hunger. There on Nerdfeed, you can also find other fandoms of such as sci-fi, comic books, and other TV shows that you might be interested in. You can always find a way to quench your hunger. All right, guys. Well, we'll leave it till next week, episode 3. Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, share the video, or share the podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.